Hey, so I had to take a break from Ascension. One of the reasons for that is simply because there wasn't really much content to do, and Ascension just kept nerfing shield tanks over and over. So as you may remember, I uploaded this video, and guess what? Shield tanks got another nerf shortly after. And since I came back, all I hear is like bear tank and stamina bear, shadow bear, and like even people talking about intellect bear. Like what the fuck happened? So since so many tanks have lost their way, let me show you what's possible. God damn, that intro deserves a sub, right? And if not, that's okay too. I appreciate you watching anyway. So from here on, I will cover talents, IE, and so on. If there's some point in the video where you feel like, oh, I feel like this is missing, like I would really appreciate if you would let me know so I can improve on it. So, if you want to replicate this build, the build is strength based, like every other two-hand tank is, like there's no way around it sadly. Like you gain attack power and you gain parry chance from strength. Luckily, we can turn the attack power into spell power as well, which means you can use IEs like White Walker, and what White Walker does is give some of your abilities spell power scaling, and it turns your Slice and Dice into Slice and Ice, and your Cone of Cold into Winds of Winter. And Winds of Winter is hitting really hard, especially with all the spell power conversions. The really high crit you saw earlier, yeah, that's from Winds of Winter. So, the core abilities that makes this build work is these. You need Righteous Fury for the threat and extra spell power through stamina. You need a seal, and you can use Seal of Righteousness or Seal of Command. Personally, I don't think Seal of Command is worth the talent point. You need a Judgment in order to sustain your mana, because it's really a mana hungry build. You need Sinister Strike, it's part of your core, and Slice and Dice in order to use White Walker IE, and a Cone of Cold, which is your massive big dick ability. And then Consecration really helps on AOE pulls. And since you are hybrid, I have a lot of spell power. Consecration will actually deal a lot of damage. Then Blessing of Sanctuary, because as I said, it's a really mana hungry build, so it really helps with the mana. Then Cold Blood, and the reason for this ability I will explain later. And then there's Ghostly Strike, and the reason for that is basically just because it's a defensive cooldown for two-hand tanks. Okay, so the random enchants that I'm using is these. I use Tides for Battle for a lot of energy regen. I use Judge, Jury, Executioner because you need a judgment in order to sustain your mana. This build is super mana hungry, and since you already need a judgment, you might as well make it so every time you use your judgment, you generate combo points. Then I use Freezing Blood, and what Freezing Blood does is whenever you consume Cold Blood, you deal additional frost damage. That damage really adds up, like it can do a lot of damage. And whenever you do a finisher, or like your Cone of Cold, Winds of Winter, whatever you want to call it, you reduce the cooldown on Cold Blood as well. So it's really good to use. Then there's Precision for the extra hit, and Mental Quickness, as I said earlier, to convert the attack power into spell power. Then Honed Ice for some extra frost damage, and whenever you use Cone of Cold or whatever you want to call it, you gain expertise. And expertise ain't really that easy to get as a tank, so it's really good. Deflection for the extra parry, Cryokinesis makes Cone of Cold scale of attack power as well, so you gain both scaling from attack power and spell power now, which is one of the reasons it's hitting so hard. And since you are basically a hybrid tank, you're also throwing out spells, so balance of power is really good for the extra spell hit, and then anticipation for the extra dodge. That's the IEs I currently use. And when it comes to talent, these are the ones I'm using. And this talent setup has crazy high damage output, and I've tanked Karazhan, normal and heroic with these talents. But then I tried Ascended Karazhan, and I think it's better I just show you what happened.
Oh, he's the one that okay, well.
So yeah. So if you plan on tanking Ascended content, I suggest you use these talents instead. Otherwise, you might end up like I did in that clip, because it happened multiple times. So use these talents if you want to be a more traditional tank, and use these if you want to be more a pumper tank. Both of these setups outshines any tank on AOE that I've seen so far, at least. If you like my content, consider giving me a sub, like it really means a lot to me. And yeah, I hope I see you next time.
Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go.